Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me for this practice. We're going to be strengthening the hips today, in particular the outer hips and the hip flexors all around the hip joint. So get something that you can use to help you balance, like a wall or a counter or a chair, and then stand in Tadasana with your feet about hip width apart. As you exhale, take some attention down in your body and feel your footprints on the ground. Imagine that your feet are spreading, widening, like your toes are lengthening, and you're getting more contact with the earth. Using your left hand for balance, you're going to begin with your right leg, and all we're going to do here is lift the heel without disturbing anything else in the torso or the hips, and then you're going to lower the heel. So we're going to do this 2 more times. And what we're looking for as we lift the heel is bending at the ball of the foot, so articulating those bones, and keeping the knee or ankle from wobbling from side to side. So stabilize your trunk, lift your heel, pause. Try not to lean your weight to the side, to the back or the front, and see if you can lift your foot off the ground. So a little bit you're going to shift over the standing leg. And then we're going to tap and lift again. And here we're strengthening the hip flexor, and we're attempting not to let the hips sway or flop around, but to stay really stable in the middle. So do this 1 more time. And when you have the knee upright, pause there. Feel the engagement of your belly. Now, if you're leaning back, you won't feel that. You'll feel your back. So make sure you're standing upright. Keep the belly in. And then you're going to start to open your leg out to the right. Now you're only going to go so far that your hips don't turn. So we're just trying to control it. We're going to do this 3 times as well. So you're going to open it in a controlled way where you're really stabilizing everything else, and the only thing that's moving is your hip in the socket. After your third, you're going to go back again, a 4th time, pause, correcting the hips if they turn, mine just did. Then with your right foot, just reach across and see if you can find your standing leg. Push your leg and your foot into one another in tree pose. Don't worry about pushing the knee back. That's sort of the classic version of the pose. This is a little more neoclassical. Keep the hips your priority. They're pointing straight ahead, and you're just really only opening so much that you feel a little squeeze in your right glute, but you're not turning your hips to the side. Feel free to take the hands up and balance for just a moment, and then step down. Just for a moment, feel the difference between your 2 feet, 2 sides of your body, any other changes or differences you might notice. You're welcome to move your chair, just turn around or use the wall, and we'll begin this whole sequence on the other side. So for now, just feeling your feet on the ground and noticing how the right one, at least for me, it feels like it's bigger, it's more open. That leg feels a little more energized. So let's do this with the left leg. Knee is tracking straight forward as you lift the heel. You're pushing the ball of your foot down and spreading your toes. And then rolling over the arch and pushing back down into the heel. So 2 more times. You can use a light touch with your left hand to help create stability. And just go slow and steady with the movement, trying not to let the knee or the ankle wobble from side to side. Now as you come up on the 3rd pass here, keep the knee upright. Try not to let your hips wag side to side or up and down. And lift your right knee up toward your chest. Don't lean back. So use your belly and your hip flexors to bring this action into play. And then we're going to tap the foot down and lift again. So just going with control 3 times, really trying to be honest about how much you can lift without your pelvis, tucking or tilting or swaying side to side. We're not dancing. We can do that later. Just right now, stabilizing. 4th lift, you're going to open. Sorry, that was 3rd lift. We'll do 4 on this one. And close. So as you open, you're squeezing your outer glute. And as you draw to middle, you're using your inner leg muscles. So 3 of those, trying not to let your hips turn. We're just isolating the leg, the femur in the socket. And now it's the 4th one for real. We're going to take it out and hold. Keep the squeeze going. You might even feel it in the standing leg. Then reach with your left foot and find the inner right leg. Mine tends to land on my knee. I don't really like pushing into my knee, so I'm going to readjust a little higher than the knee. Push foot and leg together, that concentric squeezing action of drawing all around and in. Maybe take the hands away for balance just for a moment. And then release. If you do have a chair, go ahead and put that to the side. And then come on down to all fours. When you get to all fours, lift your waistline so you have support from your belly. It's always hard when I wear loose t-shirts for you to see that, but keep a little lift in your belly so your back is supported. So now we're going to do the same action out to the side with our knee and hip without letting the hips rotate. So what I mean is we're going to take the right leg, bent knee, over and up to the right. And so what we're trying not to do is to tip the pelvis in order to think we're getting the leg higher. So your weight, imagine you had a wall against your left hip. So do 5 of these, not 3. Where you lift, you're trying to keep the knee bend the same, and you just open up and close. The weight's going to shift a tiny bit to the left, but minimize that. Try not to let the hips roll open to the right. Last time, hold, squeeze the outer right hip, kick the foot out straight, spread the toes, and then reach your foot to the ground. You're going to push down into the sole of the foot, so try to get the pinky toe edge of your foot down, and that might stretch your ankle a little bit. Just going to pause, and we'll bring the shoulders into this just so we get a complete experience with our practice today. So you're going to take your left hand, cross it under behind your right wrist as if to reach for your right foot, and then take your head and shoulder all the way to the floor. You can lift your right elbow up, turn your head and look a little more toward the ceiling. Pull the belly in slightly, just to give some support and to help you not topple over into an accidental somersault. Okay, find your way back up. And then step that right knee back to all fours. We'll do same action on left side. So remember to draw the waist up to anchor the spine in a neutral position, and then open left knee to the left. Hips are not rolling open to the left side. So if you had a dinner plate on the back of your pelvis, the plate would not slide off to the right. So you got to keep integrating your core as you continue to lift. You should be feeling and squeezing the outer left hip, the glute muscle where it connects the back of your pelvis and the back of your hip. So do 5. And on number 5, hold the leg up, kick the foot out, hold, straight leg, put the foot down. Instead of being on the inner edge of your foot, roll the foot as flat as you can, just a little stretch for the outer ankle, toes are pointing forward. And then right hand is going to go under behind left wrist, reaching out as if to grab toward your left toes. Just coming into a little bit of a spinal rotation. Keeping the belly slightly supporting you so you don't fall over or lose any kind of control in your stability. Then unravel and pull that left foot back. So we do one more here, and you're going to lie down on your belly. And when you get on your belly, just make like a pillow for your head with your hands, and you can put your forehead on that. I'm just going to move my mic so it's not rubbing on the ground. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for you. Rest your forehead or your chin on your arms so that your head is face down. open the right knee to the right on the floor, like you did when you were in tree pose. So just find a comfortable range of motion. You're not trying to bring your knee all the way up to your elbow right now, just kind of straight out, maybe 90 degrees at the hip. And you'll notice in this position, while you just lie here and take a few breaths, that your hips are asymmetrical, right? The right hip is higher away from the floor than the left. And that's one of the reasons that I like this neoclassical version of tree pose, where you don't just jam your knees back as far as you can and hope to God you don't hurt yourself. I mean, over time, that range of motion will improve, but it's nice to keep the hips safe and open only so much that you're not disrupting them. Okay, so that was long enough of a rest and breath here. You're going to just check, maybe look with your eyes, that your foot is out to the side, so to the right in this case, and you're trying to put your foot a little bit more in line with your knee. So I have a good reference point with the edge of my mat there. And then what we're going to do, when you can look for a moment and see it, is we're going to keep the knee down, but we're going to lift the foot off the floor. So this is internal rotation. We're driving the heel up toward the ceiling and turning the leg so that the top of the knee or the top of the thigh is rolling down toward the floor. So we're going to do that a few times, so 5, just like we did on the other one. So rest your head. Try to keep the hips still and level, and then lift your right heel. So the knee and the ankle are really not changing. You're just rolling your hip in the socket into internal rotation. This would be like pigeon-toed if you were standing. And you just want to try to go kind of smoothly with this motion. I notice for me, when I roll back down to the floor, it gets a little bit jerky, so I don't have very good control there. So if you're like me, you want to try to smooth that out and get some better motor control through that range of motion. And then after you've done 5, just bring that leg back to straight, so lying flat on the floor with both legs next to each other. And then switch to the other leg. So left knee out to the side. And foot kind of in line with your knee. The couch is in the way for me, so I have to move a little bit, but you get the idea. And then we'll pause here, and like we did on the other side. Hi, Lizzie. And just take a few breaths. Can you lie down, baby? So just let your hips be in this asymmetry. That was Lizzie asking to go out, so she's just going to have to wait a few more minutes. Just breathe into the belly. Noticing the difference in the asymmetry. Hips are not usually quite the same. I mean, we'd like them to be. That would be nice, but that's why we do this work, right? All right, so let's begin with the internal rotation on the left leg. So rolling the foot up away from the ground, trying not to compensate with your pelvis. So if you notice that your back is gripping, your hips are squeezing into weird different directions, well, then you might be moving too far. So control it. We're doing 5 of these. Control the movement so it's smoother, not so jerky. And you're just really trying to practice honesty with yourself about how far can you go before some other part of your body is trying to take over because it's hard or different on this side. Like this side, I'll just say it's a little bit dumber for me. Like it's not as coordinated, doesn't quite get the movement. And all kinds of other things are trying to do the work for me, like my face, my shoulders. So do your 5. When you're done, release the leg, put it back on the floor. Take a couple of breaths with the legs outstretched. And when you're ready, just flip over on your back, and we'll finish up by stretching out that hip. Come here, Mama. Hi, sweetie. So once you are on your back, hi sweetheart. Place your feet flat on the mat if they're not, and then take your right ankle and put it across your left knee. So this is kind of the opposite direction as we just did. We just did external, or internal rather, rotation. Now we're doing external. So see if you can spread the toes on your right foot. Keep your ankle pretty firm. And then use your right hand and put it at the root of your right thigh, where your thigh and your pelvis meet, and just push away. So don't push on your knee, push on your thigh, and see, like almost lock your arm out. Depends on how long your arms are. But try to shift the hips with this movement. So you're pushing enough into your right leg that you're giving some traction to your right hip. Now, most people will want to go into kind of that pigeon shape. So if you're feeling like that's not enough stretch for you, I'm going to ask you to do it like this. No hands. Lock your belly into engagement, suck the waist down, and then pick up your leg with no hands. So just using your muscles, not using your arms to do passive stretching. This is a little more active. So push your right ankle forward into your left knee. Pull your left knee up into your right ankle and try to do both at the same rate. So no leg is winning. They're both tied. And maybe keep going so you go a little deeper, but no hands. I know you want to grab. Try to resist the urge. This is better strengthening and better control and safer. My back just popped, so that's a good sign. All right, if you picked up the legs, no hands, use control and just put them back down. Uncross, pause. Just feel the difference, right hip to left. And then left ankle on right knee. Spread the toes on your left foot, activate your ankle. And then again, we're going to use the hand and we're going to place it at the top of the thigh, so not at the knee, right where the crease of the thigh is. And we're going to just kind of push firmly, firm enough that as the arm straightens or gets closer to straight, the hips actually will go a little bit asymmetrical. So left hip is going to move farther away from your head than right. You get a little stretch through the waist when you do it that way as well. So just hold that a little bit longer. I know Lizzie. She's very impatient. She wants to go out and sunbathe. Okay, so you can stay here if you like, or try this active stretching version of the legs lifting. So arms out to the side, hi sweetheart. And remember, you're trying to push your left ankle and your right knee into each other the whole time. So use your belly, pull your belly in, use that strength of your abs and hip flexor to lift the right knee up. You gotta move, babe. Okay, so once you have your legs upright, push right knee toward chest, left ankle into right knee. Do both and try to do this in a controlled way. So again, like I said, for me, this side's a little less coordinated and it's like real wobbly. So I have to push less hard to have it be more controlled. So think of it maybe like you're pushing 15 to 30% of your effort, not like 100%, just enough. And over time, you might be able to use the power of the right leg to drive your left ankle closer to you, to go deeper, in other words. But no hands, no cheating. We'll do that another time. We'll do that version another time. Right now, active stretching. One more breath. And then use your belly to resist gravity to control putting the right foot down. Uncross, pause. Nice breath in. And then again, active version of this. You're going to use your belly to lift both knees. You're going to put your hands on your thighs just above your knees. Push your hands into your knees. Push your knees into your hands. And draw your back toward the floor. Think of this as the way that you're stretching your back instead of just dragging the knees in passively in like a floppy upward facing child's pose. So squeeze them together, use your belly, push your back toward the floor like you're flattening down onto a quarter that's underneath your spine. One more breath. And again, slow, let go with your hands. Use the strength of your abdomen. Slowly release your feet. Once your feet are down, relax your belly, relax your back. We'll take 3 breaths. Let the belly expand, the pressure of the breath rising into the whole torso, expanding all around. Out through the nose. 3 times. When your 3 breaths are finished, just roll to your side. Use your hands. Push into the floor and find your way back to sitting. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this practice. Us yogis, we're guilty of being real limber. Flexibility is our jam, but we're less skilled at strengthening. So hopefully this outer hip work will bring some balance and benefit to your hips and your back. Thanks so much for practicing. Again, if you'd like to donate, you can always go to Venmo. It's Paisley-Close, or in the comments below, I'll link how you could pay by credit card. So thanks so much. I'll see you next time.